In our last video, we installed our new rear top mounts, which allow us to go from a 295 rear profile tyre to a 325 rear profile tyre, which, if successful today, will be the first in the world to have that tyre on a stock body GT4. It's going to be a massive upgrade in grip. So today we're going to get out on track and put it to the test with professional drivers at the wheel and see exactly what it's capable of. The reason we really want to get bigger wheels and tyres on the car is because we've got to the limit now with the standard tyre widths, where we're at the edge of adhesion, and mechanical grip is what we're getting to the very limit of. One of the best ways to increase your mechanical grip is either change compound, or you can go for an even wider tyre, or you can do both. So our main efforts was to see how wide of a tyre we could possibly get on the front and the rear of the GT4 to see how much grip was available. If we can get the size in there, then we can start to play with compound at a later date because we know that the package fits. Wider tyres literally means more rubber on the ground, which means more grip. This means we can carry more speed through the corner, and we can be later on the brakes and carry more grip under heavy braking and under acceleration and corner exit, because there's physically more rubber touching the tarmac and gripping into the ground. We've been able to achieve such wide tyres using our off-centre rear camber top mounts. This has pulled the whole rear suspension assembly inboard, and it's allowed us to package the 325 wheel and tyre in that space very finely, using the hardware, the spring change, and also an exact offset wheel, which positions the wheel exactly where we need it in that package of space. The same has been done on the front, using our camber plate to tuck the wheel in, and then again using an exact offset wheel to make sure that we are exactly inside the arch and away from the shock absorber as well. So we really are playing with fine tolerances with this package. So today is all about getting out on track, putting this car through its paces, because we've done all the theory, we've done all the clearance checks. Today we're going to get professional racing drivers in it, running curbs, loading it up through high speed and low speed corners, and we're going to be checking for contact and also extracting some data from the day and seeing how much of a difference this upgrade actually makes. Due to this upgrade requiring quite a lot of time to get the rear setup correct, we couldn't do a before and after on the same day like we normally like to, because there was quite a lot of time getting the setup to work and getting it all to package into that back end. So what we've done instead is we've got a lap from before the upgrade was fitted, from a little bit earlier in the year, where actually the conditions were a bit better than today. So we're actually already at a bit of a disadvantage in terms of the comparison. So on the left we've got Leighton Clark driving the car, and on the right we've got Chris Diamond driving the car. So both professional racing drivers, so still really nice to compare against. They both know exactly what they're doing behind the wheel of a Porsche. In fact, Leighton did hold the road legal lap record around Donington Park in his 991.2 GT3RS with our suspension kit fitted. So he knows how to handle the Porsche around Donington quite specifically. And then we've got Chris today in the car. So both laps have no traffic. That's why we've selected these two laps, because they're the fairest comparison that we could find with no traffic around Donington. Both cars are on a Cup 2 tyre, but obviously today we've got the 265 front and the 325 rear, compared to the before the upgrade where we had a 245 front and a 295 rear. So a really nice comparison to see exactly what difference this upgrade has made. So straight off the bat, over the start line here, we're actually already a few miles an hour up due to carrying more corner exit speed from the previous corner. But also later on the brakes, because we've got that extra width front tyre, which means we're coming into the corner even faster. We're about 3 miles an hour up there on corner entry, which means that we can get back on the gas sooner on exit after carrying extra speed through the corner into craner curves now, which is a real testament for how much confidence a car provides. So we actually entered there about 4 miles an hour faster, and at apex, again, we're about 6 miles an hour up over that curb. We also pulled 1.785 G through craner curves today, which is a massive amount of G for a Cayman GT4 on a road tyre. So we're absolutely pleased with the amount of G we held. And Chris reckons as well there was more in the car, because obviously he's just getting used to how this car now actually feels with this upgrade fitting, because he's used to driving GT4s that don't have this with the tyre fitted. So just figuring out how much speed this car can carry is still a learning curve for him as well. Again, through all these high speed sections, you can see on the speedos we're 3 or 4 miles an hour up almost everywhere all the way around the circuit. We're carrying more apex speed at about 3 or 4 miles an hour, but not only are we carrying that speed at apex, he's then getting back on the throttle even sooner.
because that rear compound, the extra width, is giving us even more corner exit traction, so we can get back on the gas before we've fully straightened back out. And it means that by the end of the next straight, we're up by about 5-6 miles an hour in some cases, because we're carrying extra speed out the corner, getting on it sooner as well, and that compounds over the duration of that straight. So we're getting overall a much faster lap time almost everywhere around the circuit due to having that speed difference. Remember that Chris actually set a time of 1 minute 39.7, which getting below a 1 minute 40 is impressive enough. So in a Cayman GT4, it's extremely impressive on a road tyre. So we're really pleased with that. And it was actually a 3-second improvement almost. I think 2.5 seconds you can see there between the left and the right screen. So in worse conditions, and we still managed a 2.5 second improvement on a 1 minute 40 laps, which is a huge increase in lap time compared to for just this one upgrade to be fitted. So it really shows how much extra grip this car can now carry through the corners, and it is mind-blowing to see that not only did we pull the 1.785G, but to knock 2.5 seconds off around Donington Park is just really impressive. So we could not be happier with the data that this has shown. Again, on the tyre temp sensors, you can see the camber settings that we've set with this kit fitted, with these tyres in there, is again working absolutely perfectly across the full width of that compound. We've got really nice green, which means that we're not overstressing any particular area of the tyre. And again, we've got really consistent grip levels, and we're very happy with how the car performed today.
So both Chris and Leighton have now been out in the car. We've seen their onboards, but it's quite rare actually that we get a day where both you guys can drive this car. You've both driven it at multiple points in its iteration. So yeah, I just want to get your feedback together and just a chat between yourselves on how you think this car drives now, from like a professional point of view, really.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to go out this morning when the tyres were quite fresh, and my instant feel was there's probably, well, just by feeling, just being in the seat, about 20-30% more grip, because particularly going through Craner and then coming out of the old hairpin, I was having to readjust my seat position, because without harnesses or the full buckets in it, I was like, oh Christ, I'm moving around a lot more. You didn't have to do before. You'd always brace yourself against the pedals or the wheel and hold yourself, but now I could just feel like I've got, the balance is very similar, but I can just go that bit much faster, and because I can do that, I'm having to feel, I can feel it on my outside leg actually, pushing it, that we're bracing ourselves a lot more. So I felt that the grip was just an instant up. I don't know what you felt, because you've just come back in.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I spent a lot of time with my 992RS this morning, which is quite different to this, but obviously having spent 3 years with a 991RS, it's amazing how similar this starts to feel like one of those. Obviously there's a little bit of a horsepower difference, and obviously, like we were just talking about a minute ago, there's a bit of a chassis difference in terms of the length of the car.
So I had the same feeling, where actually I was almost thinking I was in a 991 again, because the steering feel and the balance feel. So it was just a little bit of movement at the high speed, and then just a little bit of understeer at the low speed, and that's very similar to what we'd have on a .2 Visac.
It's become very predictable as well now. They're very predictable, but very quick as well. And like when we're out there playing with some of the cars that are out there, like we shouldn't be in the same level with them.
Nice.
We shouldn't be mucking with the kind of cars we're mucking with, like passing 992-3RSs and 913RSs. Obviously a bit of a standard driver, but still a standard one of these I don't think would hang with them.
No, I think just judging by the speed differentials we are here, we've got to be knocking sub 40s. We've not had a look yet, but I think if we've not nicked a sub 40 in a manual GT4, it's incredible, but I'd be also very shocked that we haven't done
manual.
And you lose so much time.
Would help a lot with this.
So much time. The upshift second to third, you're just like, come on.
So I mean, for sure, there's probably another half second on the table there at least.
But in terms of the balance, I just felt that we've got that big step up in grip, but we're not losing or making anything that's particularly edgy or like throwing the balance off. I was actually impressed, because I think we were both a little bit worried this morning when we were like, have we over-tied this car? Have we put too much on the back and it's just going to wash the front out? But actually, the first, after a lap and a half after I had some tyre temperature in it, I wasn't braking though through Craner. I was just off and back on it. And I was just like, fucking on, the thing's really
carries a lot of speed through there. And there's not many cars that can do that at that sort of speed, is there?
No,
like
especially
120. Not many cars that can do that.
And it was just the fact they just kept giving it to me, and then hit a bit of traffic, but that's always going to happen on a day like today. But it just gave me that confidence and that ability to do it without being at any point snappy or edgy. Whereas I think because we were worried a bit of that understeer, having that little bit more locking could have done it, but thankfully it hasn't. and it's literally just added grip, as if, you know, on a Mario Kart you just up the grip level, you know.
I think it's impressive what you've done. Like, it's been a long project to get to this point, hasn't it? And it's very, very impressive to see how you've actually shoehorned those into those arches. Yeah, you kind of need to see it to believe it.
Yeah, when you first look at it and you look at that front and you're like, really? And then you go, no, look at the back. And you just realise how much tyre there is underneath this little car now.
It all fits, like we've got it in there and it's working.
Yeah, I say we're not seeing any touching, or very, very little at the moment. And that's, you know, because we're on a development day, we're always going to experiment with this. And, you know, the front's not touching at all.
Nope.
And even with big compressions at the old hairpin and through Grano,
I
we're
was
not
surprised.
seeing anything.
Yeah.
So, you know, and you know, just for your everyday stuff, the manoeuvrability in and out of the garage, we're not knocking, you know, putting a turn and a half lot. It's fine, absolutely fine. So you're not having to suddenly be Austin Powers and shut the thing around. You can still drive it like a car and take it in and out your garage without a problem.
No, you've done a great job, mate.
Overall then, a lot more cornering grip and feels more like a 3RS, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think it's really starting to nudge in on that territory.
Yeah, and that was
really
the goal,
is.
because like I love your 991.2 bicycle. That's the pinnacle for me in terms of Porsche, I think.
Yeah, me too, I think.
That was why I was like, let's just go for it. If we can't do it, we can't do it. But we've got to try. And we tried, and it looks like we've actually cracked it, which is really cool. So yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, I think the fact that we've both come to the same conclusion without actually having chatted to each other even at all today. Normally we say, you know, a fair bit, because we've known each other far too long. But we've both gone, actually, it just feels like that. And you're like, okay, right, we're pointing at a Visac.2. Yeah, we'll fit that in. But we've both come to the same conclusion just by driving it after 3-4 laps. That's exactly what we aim to do. And with a little bit of fettling, we are going to find probably another second in it, I reckon.
Yeah, well, we're not finished anywhere near yet. There's a lot more left in this car yet.
Yeah, I was referring to just what we've done today. Well, you know, we've got bigger plans for it, but in terms of today, I reckon there's a little bit more, and you know, we'll get some bravery together, and we'll really start sending it and push it a bit. But for what we've just done straight out of the box, it's really cool.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah, pleasure.
The day is drawn to a close here at Donington Park, and we could not be happier with the results of the GT4 today. The new rear top mounts have unlocked the ability to fit these 325s and also the 265 up front, and the difference is mind-blowing. I mean, after the pros went out in the car, I finished the day for a couple of hours driving this, and from an amateur's perspective, I couldn't believe the difference. Like, the confidence I had in the car, especially through Craner curves, which is quite an unnerving part of the track, was absolutely night and day compared to before. I was carrying about 10 miles an hour more than I used to in this car through there, because I had the confidence. And even at the limit, whereas before we used to dance on the limit and it used to lose a bit of tyre, a bit of grip, and you just sort of very lightly drift the car through the corner. Now, it's got so much grip that you can hear the tyre just start to go when you go a bit too fast, and then it just grips again and goes, and it's just insane the cornering speed this thing now has. So many corners here I was having to relearn. My braking points have all changed, because not only have we got cornering speed, but the wider front and rear tyres has given us a lot more straight line traction. So at the end of the straight here, I'm able to get on the brakes so much later, about a car and a half's lengths later than I was before. And even then, I was having scenarios where I thought, I could actually brake even later than now. And even Chris was the same. He did a 1:39.5 today, which is extremely fast for a GT4 on a road tyre. So that was with a bit of traffic too. So not only has it gone so much faster than we have ever before, but even he thought a few times, I can go faster than this. Like, he wasn't pushing to the limit, because the whole car now needs relearning because there's so much more grip. And just the comments of Leighton that it's more like a GT3 now, because that was kind of the goal, was choosing these tyre sizes because they're the same widths as a 991.2 3RS. So that was kind of the whole point of trying to get these tyre sizes on this car. So for him to come in immediately and say, he said, I know this is what you want to hear, but it's actually true. Like, this actually does feel like a GT3 to drive now. So it was quite nice of him just to come straight in with that result. And also for Chris to have exactly the same feedback. And they hadn't actually spoken before the previous interview either. So for them to both be on the same page immediately is really cool. So really, really happy with where this car is up to now. Next stage is now, we know that we've got so much grip coming through this car now, we need to finish solid bushing it. Every rubber bush needs to now come out of this. The GT4RS comes out the factory fully solid bushed as it is. So it is now time to upgrade this to full solid bushes and get a really nice mechanical grip package finished, because this car now is really quite unbelievable for a GT4.